Hey, hello friends, welcome to my channel. In this Python beginner tutorial series, today let's discuss about what is while loop in Python. Okay, while loop is a very important concept in Python. Okay, not only in Python, in any programming language, loop is a mandatory concept for every programmer to understand. Okay, so let's start looking at what is the while loop and how and when can we use that. Okay, so first, if we start looking at the definition, Python while loop is used to execute a block of statements repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied. Okay, and when the condition becomes false, the line immediately after the loop in the program is executed. Basically, what it means is the while loop will execute, you know, until the condition is true. As soon as the false condition is encountered, it will come out of the loop. Okay, so you can use this in many kind of situations. Okay, so I will discuss few examples so that you will have a very clear understanding about when and where to use for while loop. Okay, so here I have a simple flowchart to make you understand the concept of while loop. So here we have a test expression. Okay, until the condition is true, it will go and start, it will execute the given statements. Once the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Okay, so this is what while loop is all about. So now let's look at a very basic example for you to make you understand how a while loop works. Okay, so I've given you two basic examples here. So instead of showing this slide, let's go out of our Python and try to understand how while loop work. Okay, so say for example I want to print numbers up to n. Okay, so here let me assign a value to I. Okay, so while I less than n, I will basically hard code value as 10. Okay, so I want to print values up to 10. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just using a print statement here. Print I, I'm just printing the value of I, and I'm just incrementing it using additional assignment operator. Okay, so now if I run this, you can see it started from 1 because I started from 1, and it started printing my value, and it incremented the value of I as well. So initially I will be 1, so obviously I is less than 10, so it came to this print statement and 1 got printed. In the next condition, 2 is, so the I is incremented here, right? So I plus or equal to 1 means I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so both are same. So this is very same to I plus I equal to I plus 1. Okay, so both these two are same only. Okay, so I plus or equal to 1 means it will increment the value 1 by 1 as soon as it is printed. So first it printed 1, 2, 3 up to 9. So here when the value 10 comes, so 10 is less than 10, obviously the condition is false, so it came out of the loop. Okay, now if you look at the flowchart, you will have a very clear understanding. So here the value of, so here the test expression is I less than 10. Okay, so it will execute the statement. Basically the statement here is our print statement, print I. So it will execute the statement until it is true. Okay, so it will print up to 9. As soon as the condition is false, it will come out of the loop. Okay, this is a very basic and layman example for you of while loop. All right, so this is one way to print values up to 10 using while loop. Okay, let's look another similar example again. Okay, so I equal to 0. This time I will have I equal to 0. So while say I less than 5, so okay, for I less than 5, and I want to increment the value of I plus or equal to 1, then I want to use a print statement, print say Python, let me call Python. Okay, now if I run this, you can see it will print the Python value 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The reason is because, so here I have value I less than or equal to 5, which means it will go up to 4. The I value will be up to 4. Whenever I value is up to 4, the condition will be true. But we started from 0, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, it will be working fine. So this 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so what happens is, again, so while I is less than 5, so in my first iteration I will be 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So up to 4 it will increment my I value and print this Python statement. As soon as 5 comes, so 5 is obviously not less than 5, so it will come out of the loop and it will stop printing. Okay, so this is how a while loop will work. Okay, this is a very basic example I can give you about while loops. All right, so next we'll see about break statements in Python. Okay, so how to use break statement in while loop. So in for loops also we saw the similar examples. Okay, we discussed about how break and continue works. This is also again very similar to what we saw in for loops. Okay, with the break statement we can stop the loop even if the while condition is true. All right, so now in many situations, right, so whenever you work in real-time projects, when you work with larger data sets, now you do not want to go through your entire loop. So as soon as a condition is satisfied, you want to come out of the loop. In those kind of situation, break will be very handy. All right, so let's look at an example for you to make understand how break works. All right, so let's see a very similar example. Okay, so here let's have I equal to 1, right? So while I less than 10, print I. All right, so what I will do is, up while I is less than up to 10, I will print I. The reason I ran this is because I want to show you, because I have not given any incremental here. So what it happens is, it will keep on running infinitely. Okay, so until I manually stop it, it will not stop. All right, so you can see 1 got printed infinite number of times. So this is one of the challenge many programmers face, because all they are doing is they are writing some logic incorrectly. Okay, so they are writing while loops in such a way that it runs infinitely. Okay, so let's complete this. Okay, so obviously I started from 1, right? In the why it is running infinitely here is because I have not specified an endpoint here. So because I started from 1, okay, obviously I'm giving a condition expression called I less than 10, but I am not incrementing I or anything here. So I remains 1 throughout my loop. So it keeps on printing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So this is how infinitely it will run when we do not specify our while loops correctly. Okay, so let's complete this. All right, so I am gonna print my value I. Okay, so I'm gonna increment it, right? Like this is the same example what we discussed earlier. Now if I run and show this, now you can see it stopped at 9. Okay, so this is a common mistake usually every programmer make. So just pass it and try a hands-on, so that you will have a very clear understanding about how and where we can stop the loop at correct place. All right, so here this is the same example what we saw earlier. So now we are printing up to 9, right? But for some reason you want to stop at a point where you satisfy a condition. Say if I equal to 5. Okay, in the situation you want to break and come out of the loop, right? So now if I run this, you see it stopped at value up to 5, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this is how a break works. The break will be very handy whenever you work with loops, because in certain situation you do not want to iterate through entire item in your loop. All right, so you do not want to go through each and every item in your sequence. So in that situation, break will be very, very handy. All right, so that's how break works. And we have something called continue. Okay, so continue statement, with the continue statement we can stop the current iteration and continue with the next. All right, so continue is something just opposite to our break statement. Break statement put halts, like it halts and it breaks the iteration, whereas the continue statement we can stop the current iteration and continue with the next. Okay, so let's look at an example to show you how continue works. All right, so let's look at a very similar example like how what we discussed earlier. So I have while I equal to 0, while I less than 10 and I plus or equal to 1. So this is my additional assignment operator, and if I equal to 5, I want to continue. I do not want to stop at that point, and then I'm printing the I. Right, earlier we saw as soon as I value is 5, we will break it. Now I do not want to break it, I want to continue it. Now if I run this, you can see it started from 1 2 3 4, and you can see between 4 and 6 value 5 is missing, because as soon as the value 5 is encountered, and I'm skipping that and continuing with the remaining of the iteration. So it started from 6 7 and printed up to 10. So in case if I increase this value up to 20, it will again skip a 5. You can see it will skip 5, and it continued with the remainder of the execution. Okay, so this is how continue statement also will be very handy. You might face this kind of situations in real time where you will have to continue irrespective of something is occurring. Okay, so this is how you can use continue with while loops. All right, so these are basics of while loops, guys. Okay, so this is what I want to cover as part of this video. I do not want to go in depth against while loop because at times it might be a little confusing. I hope you understood about how while loop works. In case if you have any queries, please try hands-on, and if you have any queries, and let me know in the comment section. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. Thank you.